Welcome, everyone. If you're tuning into this, you're obviously serious about mastering the rules of the road at sea. And honestly, you're in exactly the right place. Today's explainer is all about bridging the gap between something you do on autopilot every single day, driving your car, and the high-stakes world of maritime navigation. Our goal today is simple, but absolutely crucial. We're going to make sure you absolutely ace the lookout section of your ROR exam. We're taking a pretty dense, formal maritime rule and mapping it directly onto your everyday instincts so it sticks in your brain permanently.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is the structured roadmap we'll use today. First, a welcome to Rule 5. Then, we'll cover time and full attention, using sight and sound, tools and weather conditions, and finally, we'll wrap up with the ultimate exam formula.
All right, Section 1, welcome to Rule 5.
Here is the foundational legal text that governs our safety on the water, in its pure, unedited form. Colreg Rule 5. Every vessel shall at all times maintain a proper lookout by sight and hearing, as well as by all available means appropriate in the prevailing circumstances and conditions. Whew! Sounds like a mouthful, right? It's dense, it's legal, and it carries the full weight of international maritime law. But hey, instead of trying to just memorize this as one giant paragraph, we're going to slice it up piece by piece. Let's start with those very first few words.
Which brings us to Section 2, time and full attention.
Picture this. You're driving your car down a highway. The road stretches out ahead of you, completely, totally empty. So, do you just close your eyes for 10 seconds because it looks clear? Well, of course not. Not unless you have a death wish, right? That visceral no-way reaction you just had? That is exactly the mindset you need out at sea. A momentary lapse in attention on a seemingly empty ocean is literally just as dangerous as closing your eyes behind the wheel at 60 miles an hour.
Just like you always keep your eyes glued to the road in a car, a ship has to maintain a lookout continuously. The rule says at all times. And guys, it literally means all the time. It doesn't matter if it's high noon or the dead of night. Pouring rain, thick fog, doesn't matter. Whether you're navigating a highly congested, super busy sea lane or just cruising through the vast, empty open sea, the vigilance never stops. You always watch.
Now, what's really interesting about this is that full attention means scanning for multiple specific hazards, not just staring into the void. In a car, you aren't just staring blankly at the bumper in front of you, you're watching for pedestrians, checking mirrors, scanning traffic lights. On a ship, proper lookout means an actively moving, analytical gaze. You aren't just looking for massive cargo ships. You're watching for smaller fishing boats, identifying buoys, keeping a safe distance from land, spotting floating objects, and interpreting navigation lights. It's the whole shebang.
So, let's lock in our very first memory tip. For this first chunk of Rule 5, simply remember this milestone. Always watch and pay full attention. The ocean does not take coffee breaks, and neither does your situational awareness.
Moving right along to Section 3, using sight and sound.
The rule explicitly states we do this by sight. Think about your car again. You look through the windscreen to see what's ahead, and you're constantly checking your side mirrors to understand your surroundings. Out on a ship, the officer of the watch is essentially doing the exact same thing, just on a massive scale. Their version of a windscreen and mirrors involves scanning the horizon, keeping an eye on the relative movement of other vessels, verifying navigation marks, identifying lights in the distance, and visually assessing those ever-shifting weather conditions. But the rule also explicitly says by hearing. Think about it. In your car, long before you actually see an ambulance, you hear its siren. You hear a car honk in your blind spot, or a train crossing signal ringing out ahead. Your ears warn you of unseen dangers. It is exactly the same on the bridge of a ship. The lookout has to actively listen for ship horns blasting in the distance, fog signals echoing through restricted visibility, the low rumble of nearby engine sounds, or sudden whistles. Your ears act as your early warning radar.
So, the crucial point is that these two senses absolutely must actively work together. You really can't rely on just one. If visibility suddenly drops, your hearing becomes even more vital. Lock this second milestone into your mind. Use your eyes and use your ears.
All right, Section 4, tools and weather conditions.
Now, the rule demands you use all available means. Think about a modern car. A good driver doesn't just stare at the rearview mirror, right? They use the side mirrors, the reverse camera, and they actually listen to the parking sensors before backing into a wall. A ship is an incredibly sophisticated platform. So all available means integrating your natural eyes and ears with the ship's radar, checking the AIS tracking data, peering through binoculars, monitoring the ECDIS electronic charts, and listening to the VHF radio. You have to cross-reference all these tools to build one complete picture.
Finally, the rule talks about adapting to the prevailing circumstances and conditions. Let's go back to the car. On a sunny day, you drive normally. But what happens when a heavy rainstorm hits or night falls? Your behavior instantly changes. You turn on the wipers, you slow down, you flip on your headlights, and you become extra careful. You naturally adjust to the conditions of the road. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly what a ship must do. In clear weather, a normal lookout routine is totally fine. But when the prevailing circumstances change, say you encounter a thick bank of fog, the ship's behavior has to instantly transform. The vessel must reduce speed. The crew needs to use the radar much more frequently. They have to begin sounding fog signals to warn others. And critically, they must post an extra lookout. The strategy has to perfectly fit the situation.
To summarize this technical section, your memory tip is twofold. Use everything available and adjust to the situation. Remember, you aren't just a passive observer out there. You're an active manager of your environment and your technology.
Section 5. The Ultimate Exam Formula. Let's move to the final payoff and see how this all builds together.
Here it is, your simple, unstoppable formula for Rule 5. When you sit down for your ROR exam, I want you to just count these 5 steps on your fingers. 1. Always watch, at all times, maintaining full attention. 2. See, actively use your eyes to scan the horizon. 3. Hear, keep those ears open for signals and engines. 4. Use everything, integrate your radar, AIS, and binoculars, using literally all available means. And 5. Suit the situation. Adapt your speed and look out to the prevailing weather and traffic. Always watch, see, hear, use everything, suit the situation. Bam! That is Rule 5 completely decoded.
So we've broken down the law, we've compared it to your daily commute, and we've built a foolproof memory formula. But the ultimate test isn't just on a piece of paper. It's out there on the water. So I'll leave you with this. Knowing this formula, how does your own situational awareness really stack up for your next watch? Are you just looking, or are you truly maintaining a proper lookout? Keep that question front of mind the next time you step onto the bridge. Stay vigilant, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next explainer.
If you are a deck cadet or preparing for maritime exams, subscribe to Deck Cadet Academy for more simple Colreg, navigation, and seamanship lessons.